Hello and welcome to the Bobby and Beardy Show. I'm Bobby. That over there is McBeardy.
Me? Hi. Oh,
Should we start again?
I'm Beardy. No, we're good.
Oh dear. Yes, this is the Bobby and Beardy Show, the pilot episode, the inaugural episode, the first episode of our brand new show in which we're going to talk about movies, comic books, TV shows, tech, sports maybe, wrestling maybe, anything we fancy.
Anything we want,
ultimately. Yeah. Mostly movie of the week though, if I'm honest with you, because that's what we do. Beardy, what are we going to talk about today in a minute?
It's going to be Argylle, I think, main topic for today.
The movie Argylle.
Interesting one for us.
Absolutely. But before that, have you been up to?
We'll talk.
Have you been up to anything fun?
I've been a man of culture this week, and I don't know where that's come from because you know me. I went to the opera
least cultured man I've ever met in my life, ladies and gentlemen.
I have no. You can hear by my voice, I'm clearly uncultured. Opera last weekend, theatre yesterday. So saw La Boheme, saw Hamilton live. It honestly good times.
Did you watch Hamilton on Disney Plus beforehand, or was that your first experience?
No. I was told I had to avoid all things Hamilton and go in blind to understand. I'm very happy someone snuck in that people change characters partway through, because otherwise I would have been very confused.
That's a bit of classic theatre magic for you there. Somebody may die or just not be needed for the second act, and suddenly the same character is there, but they're suddenly called Jeff instead of George. You're like, I'm on to you.
Yeah, no. The way it was mentioned to me, it was more that the character would still be existing, but then we had a different actor playing them. That made no sense to me at all. But it got cleared up, and I'm smart now. I understand things. I'm a theatre man.
I watched Hamilton on Disney Plus during lockdown, and my favourite thing in that entire thing is the King. Yes. I have seen clips of the English King being the English King, the English actor being the English King. Not quite as good in my opinion. But I'm glad you enjoyed that. Been up to anything else, Captain Culture?
Oh, if I'm honest, no.
Well, I've just come from my favourite place on earth. That's right, I've been to IKEA this evening. Bought a couple of little bits and bobs. As usual, I spent hundreds of pounds inexplicably on not much at all. But that's the IKEA life for you.
Bit of trivia. The guy who is playing Hamilton in the show that I saw is the guy in the IKEA advert right now.
Well, it's
someone that Egan went to uni with.
Oh, yeah. There's a bit of 50 Shades of Tegan. 50 Shades? I'm going to say 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. Well, they're very different things. That's a different podcast.
We're off to a dodgy start on this podcast. Jesus. So we're talking Argylle as our main feature, but we're a couple of weeks into the year now. I mean, it's February, mid-February. And I just want to give you a quick recap of my opinions, and I assume you've seen most of these films as well. Just a quick bam, this is my opinion on this film. Saw Migration the other day, the animated film about ducks. Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. Yeah. The thing I didn't like about it, every character is an idiot and completely wrong, apart from the dad, who is so bang on. He just wants to keep everybody safe. And everyone's like, safety? That's boring, Dad. Let's go get murdered. And then they're almost murdered, and they're like, yay, this is fun. I'm like, no, the dad's correct.
Okay, but have you met ducks?
Well, now that you put it that way, no.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Have you seen Migration yet?
I haven't, no.
Well,
no. I there's very few animations I care for, and that isn't up on the list. I haven't seen it, so I can't judge, but it's not enticing me.
Fair enough. Another film I saw was the Mean Girls musical. Hold my hands up straight away. I never watched the original Mean Girls. I know. I'm shocked and appalled at me, at Bobby. But never saw it. Whatever. I didn't like Mean Girls musical because I didn't think musically it was very good.
So clearly I seem like the sort of person who frequents Mean Girls sort of genre of films. The original one's pretty good. Very quotable, quite funny. Yeah, it didn't need a remake. you know what? I usually don't mind stuff with Tina Fey, but it didn't seem like it needed a remake, and it didn't need to be a musical.
Well, I appreciate the fact that they didn't just remake the film, and they did make it the musical, which I assume is based on a Broadway show or something, which I
probably
don't know about.
Haven't seen either.
But yeah, I just thought musically it was a bit whatever. And finally, the last film I want to really quickly recap is The Beekeeper with Jason Statham, which is a film that is far better than it has any right to be, considering how often they talk about bees. It's constant. It's like, right, we can't just be another super secret organization above the CIA or whatever. We're going to have to think of a fun gimmick. All right, bees. Okay, beekeepers. Well, we can't just say they're the beekeeper once. We've got to really hammer this home. We're talking about bees every scene. It sounds like I'm poo-pooing the film. I loved it. 10 out of 10. I especially love the fact
10 out of 10.
That, well, not really, but for what it is. Actually, no, I stand by it. 10 out of 10. You know why? It's because Jason Statham has a baseball cap that seems to be extra large on his head. It's like he's got a cone head. It's like this for some reason. That's where it finishes. It doesn't finish at skull level. It's like, don't know why that is, but it's great.
Good to know that's your standard for a good film. Weird Hat.
Weird Hat, 10 out of 10.
Weird Hat does it. Yeah. That makes sense to me.
I also enjoy, it's a classic action film where most of the revenge is done against innocent cops, the lower level scrubs of evil organizations, and then the real bad guys mostly kind of get away with it. It just feels like. Anyway, The Beekeeper, probably my film of the year so far. Not even joking. Not even joking.
Well, it's early in the year. We've got time to make that better.
I mean, Madam Web could be better. Could be.
Whoa. Well, you know I'm seeing that tomorrow.
Could be. It's not.
I've seen the Rotten Tomato score. Have you?
We will come back to Madam Web, I'm sure.
Okay. Yes, we will.
On the next episode, or the one after that.
On the next episode.
In the next episode. Oh, okay. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, that's my quick recap of some films I've seen this year.
I have definitely seen films, but I can't tell you what. I've been very difficult with work, very busy, and then live shows. So I'm gonna have to watch more films.
You're a man of culture. You don't have time for all these nonsense animated films about bird dads and Jason Statham as a beekeeper and musicals about Mean Girls. You're seeing proper culture, my friends. So you know, Captain Culture over here. We're gonna get you a little banner, a little badge. It's gonna be fantastic.
I want a full suit with a cape.
I mean, you're gonna have to provide. That's coming out of your budget, not mine.
Damn it. Does the podcast have a budget yet? Do we have a costuming budget?
I mean, I've got a cup of tea. That's come out of someone's budget. So
fair enough. Fair enough.
We'll see how far that gets us.
Argylle time now.
Well, just before Argylle.
Okay.
Just before Argylle. I want to talk about an anticipated movie of the year.
For
me. I know we talked about you briefly doing this. I don't know if you've put any effort in, but I want to get. I looked at the list of films coming out this year, and not that much jumped out to me. I'm going to be honest with you. The Fall Guy with oh my goodness, what's his name? Ryan Gosling. There we go. That's his name. Where he's he's a stunt man. That looks pretty. That looks pretty fun.
Yeah, that looks good.
But it's not top tier movie though, is it? It's not like there's a Mission Impossible or something coming out, or a new, I don't know, Lord of the Rings or whatever. But it looks fun enough. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is coming out as well. Henry Cavill as yet another spy. This time he's got a beard and some glasses, maybe. I don't know. That looks quite fun. But the one I really wanted to quickly mention, really, is Deadpool 3. Deadpool and Wolverine. The trailer dropped for the Super Bowl. And I watched it the day after because obviously I didn't watch the Super Bowl.
It would be crazy like that.
You know, I'm an Englishman. I stick by it. I don't understand the rules. Taylor Swift won. That's all I know. And it's the first Marvel film because technically in my head it's Fox, isn't it? Because that's the Deadpool X-Men.
No,
were the Fox universe. Yeah, they were.
They were, but obviously Marvel bought it back. They bought the IP back. Yeah.
So it's the first Marvel film that I've been genuinely excited for. More excited than Guardians 3, which, and I love the Guardians
that was good.
of the Galaxy franchise, fantastic. The Marvel like independent films, when you take out the massive hitters of Infinity War and Endgame, you've got the Spider-Man trilogy with Thomas Holland and Guardians with Chris Pratt and gang. Those are the two big ones.
Are you not taking Thor?
Thor, man. Ragnarok is probably my favorite film in the MCU.
Yeah.
But Love and Thunder is.
Oh yeah, no.
That was hard to watch. That made me sad. Not as sad as Ant-Man Quantumania, because
I still haven't seen that yet because of the reviews.
So bad. But yeah, Deadpool 3. I'm like, wow. This is. I'm hyped. I'm hyped, and it's not really Marvel, but it might be the thing. It is Marvel. I get it. They bought it anyway, and it's a Marvel character. But it might be the thing that reinvents because Marvel's downhill. It's downhill, baby.
It's gone down for a bit. The thing is, if they can keep any of the actual Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman interaction that they actually have in real life in the film, that'll sell it itself.
I assume that's what they're going to do, because I think that's what people want to see.
Well, really. You've also got, obviously, Ryan Reynolds fits the Deadpool role outstandingly. He's just got that quippiness to him. I'm interested to see if they do a Deadpool Spider-Man crossover, because the comics do that a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, you suck. But obviously, because he's so typecast in Deadpool, but Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Like, you just can't. You think of Wolverine, you think of Hugh Jackman. Like, there's nothing else.
There are a number of casting decisions that are just spot on, and you're going to really struggle to replace them. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Yes.
One of the many Chris's from Hollywood as Captain America. Ryan as Deadpool. Like, these are like they're excellently casted.
Yeah.
And you think, well, who's going to replace them? It's going to be a tall order. Like, maybe don't do it for quite some time.
Theoretically big shoes to fill. I don't know how big Hugh Jackman's feet are.
Well, he's not the smallest man. So
no.
Anyway, I just want to talk about that, and suddenly my hype for Marvel, which has been on the down, it's on the up. Good. Also, because of the writer's strike and things, they've stopped making 1 million films and TV shows every 4 minutes.
Ooh.
So maybe they could make some quality instead of just quantity.
I think what we're going to find is the backlog of films that couldn't be made will all release at the same time. It'll be a very busy summer.
You are probably correct. Anyway, that's that. That's what's happened. That's what I've seen. That's what I'm excited for. Do you have anything to quickly add? Anything you're excited for that you can think off the top of your head?
I'm interested for the new Ghostbusters. I don't know how I feel about it, but I didn't hate the previous ones. It's an interesting take on it, seeing the new generation, so I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
Because I am such a Spider-Man fan and have been for a long time, I am interested in Kraven the Hunter. I know you want to pronounce it wrong.
Kraven.
Kraven. I think it's an interesting take. They've changed a little bit of the story to make it work. Sometimes when studios do that, it works. Other times, not so much. And there's a whole host of horror films that have come out recently and will be coming out soon. Things like Night Swim, which I really want to see. Big horror fan myself. I don't get to watch them very often. And I don't think we'll be discussing them very much in this show.
Well, here's the thing. I hate horror.
Mm-hmm.
Cards on the table. Not a fan. Absolute biggest wuss you'll ever see in your life. You want to discuss horror, though? You can have Beardy's horror corner, where you can let us know your thoughts on Night Swim, on the Baghead's coming out soon if it's not already out.
I'm interested in Well, I don't know when it actually is coming out, whether it is or not. I think I might have just missed it.
Well, not that one then.
Interesting concept, but I've obviously had to miss it because, in the same way as you, Tegan's not a horror fan. I don't get to see a lot. I still haven't seen some of the shows like The Fall of the House of Usher, which is supposed to be fantastic, really well reviewed, but it's got a mild horror aspect, so I haven't got around to it. So she might be going away like she did last year for about a month, and I'll just horror every day.
Gonna be
Get
so
myself silly.
spooky.
Lock myself in the closet.
Well, there you go. So yeah, we're gonna review everything, anything, like we were saying at the start of the show. We're gonna do movie of the week kind of vibe. Whatever's the big release that we've both seen. Beardy can do his horror. I'll do your kids' animated films to be the counterpoint to that. We'll talk tech, mostly you. I might dabble in some wrestling news every so often. There's controversy galore. Not the negative, not the proper, not the Vince McMahon stuff. We're not talking about any of that stuff. But the actual TV show, we can talk about that occasionally when I get excited and want to tell you it's terrible. But that's enough. That's enough pleasant conversation with you, young man.
Now for terrible conversation.
Now for an unpleasant conversation where you tell me, with no spoilers, what's Argylle about?
So Argylle is about a spy organization where someone has gone rogue, and there's a writer who's maybe predicting a bit too closely to what's actually going on. And both sides of this feud kind of want to figure out why, how. It's very reminiscent of like the Lost City, the Sandra Bullock show, and then the 1980s Romancing the Stone. I think
Lost City's a good film, by the way.
Lost City's not a bad film.
I enjoyed that film when Amy and I watched that.
It's a similar concept where something doesn't seem right in her writing, and they need to figure out why. It's very tongue-in-cheek. I really enjoyed how it knows what film it is, and it plays up to that. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. Some of the recording choices were outstanding. I really liked some of the more stupid aspects of the film. And I kind of stand by that this is going to be an uncomfortable chat because I don't understand why it's getting so much critic hate where it's getting so much viewer love. Do you have any thoughts on why that? Like, I can't figure it out.
Well, what I'll do is I'll add to your spiel about what it is. So Argylle is a spy action comedy film directed by the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn. He's directed Kingsman and X-Men First Class, amongst other things. It's written by Jason Fuchs. I assume that's how you say his name. Starring Bryce Dallas Howard as the aforementioned author, Ellie Conway, the spy novelist. Sam Rockwell is a real spy in it. But it's got an all-star cast. It's got Bryan Cranston, Henry Cavill, Dua Lipa, John Cena, Samuel L. Jackson on a budget, according to Wikipedia, of around 200 to 250 million. Some of that is Apple money, because Apple are just moneying all over the place at the moment. So come back to what you said about it knows what it is and the hate it's been getting. First of all, I liked this film. I had fun watching it. The reason I think people get confused about the film is it kind of has two halves or two personas, and it starts as one thing, and then it kind of just goes, okay, bonkers time now. Let's just go silly fun, and it does kind of feel like there's two movies that have just gone bam together. That said, one of my favorite scenes. There's a clip of it in the trailers. There's a fight in a hallway with lots of coloured smoke. That's a funny scene. That's a good, silly action scene. I enjoyed it.
Yes. It's well choreographed. The colours actually complement each other quite well. But there's stupid little things without throwing spoilers into it. There's reference multiple times to a dance move called the whirly bird. And at the end of this clip, they're doing a reverse whirly bird. And if you listen, at the end of the music, someone just goes, whirly bird. And it's weird, but it knows what it is and it does it well.
Yeah. Like it's a fun film. It is a fun film.
Yeah. On that same vein of like films that know what they are and doing it well, have you seen Nobody?
Yes. Nobody is a great film. I very much enjoyed Nobody.
But again, it knows what it is. It's John Wick with a bit more comedy. It knows what it is and it does it well. And this is in that same vein to me.
Absolutely. So it starts obviously with Ellie. Spoiler free. We're going to be spoiler free for as much as possible, and then we might dabble at the end.
Well, they'll need to use some spoilers to some stuff I want to discuss with you. Which,
yeah. I think Bryce Dallas Howard is fantastic as Ellie Conway.
Yes, 100% agree.
She plays an excellent out of her depth author suddenly thrust into this crazy spy world where there's people chasing her and trying to kill her, and there's the real life mysteries to unfold because, as they say in the trailers and things, she's been too close to home for some of her stories, and they want to know what's going on. That's a positive. That is a positive. A negative, I would say, is some of the green screen action. There's some of it looks like it's filmed in a cupboard, and it looks like it's a bad cupboard. And some of the wash on the background and on them, it's like does take it. It's not the biggest nitpick in the world, but for some people it is. No. But it does make you go,
Yeah, but the thing is, I think in some situations it adds to the charm a little bit. So again, without spoilers, when it keeps cutting between Sam Rockwell, isn't it?
And Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, I really like the cinematography there. It's fun, it's interesting. The way that she reacts to what she's seeing is brilliant.
Yeah,
you can clearly tell it's not the best edit ever, but to me that helps with the fact that it's cutting for her.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that it's not perfect, and again, because it knows what it is, it's not trying to be top. This is going to sound really bad for the people who made it, but it's not trying to be top tier. I didn't mean that. I love you guys.
I think that there are some action scenes where Ellie Conway's character is seeing her fictional Argylle spy in place of Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell's flailing around trying to just stay alive, and it cuts the fictional character who's just cool and suave and just under control. Even if someone's punching him in the face, he's under control. I'm talking later on, maybe in some scenes in France, and because it's set all over the world. They're in every country, baby. There are some scenes where you're like, oh, that just doesn't look. Ugh.
So, just quickly, interrupting on this, a bit of color commentary. Obviously, you're talking about fake Argylle, Henry Cavill being all suave. What is the haircut? What is
best haircut of my life, mate? I'm thinking of getting one.
Please do. I will pay you.
Later on, there's a scene where Sam Rockwell's character, who I cannot remember the name of, for some reason, dons the Henry Cavill Argylle spy look, including hair, and it doesn't work for him. It barely works for Henry Cavill. I'm totally honest with you.
His name's Aiden.
One thing I would say about this is I do wish there was more Cavill as Argylle. I know it doesn't really make sense because he's the fictional character in the book, and and then this is the real story where she's written some stuff, and now the spy agencies want her and her information, and they're chasing her. However, I did really enjoy Henry Cavill in all of his fictional book scenes, and John Cena's there, and some other characters, and there's a dance scene that you kind of see in the trailers as well. Dua Lipa, and it's good. I kind of wanted more of that as well. I wanted both. I want two cakes, and I want to eat them both. Give me the cakes.
At what point can we discuss potential spoilers?
Well,
probably a bit later.
Well, we can nip into spoilers pretty soon, to be honest. What I will say before we go into any spoilers is I've complimented Bryce Dallas Howard as the scared author,
Ellie
Conway. Later on, she has to do some action scenes, as you'd expect. And hallway shootout aside, which is very funny and very well choreographed.
The ice skating, though. The ice skating's fantastic. Or the oil skating.
Well, it's not. Well, we're avoiding spoilers. now people know there's some oil involved.
I'm sorry, does that spoil the story?
I must admit, once she had to shed her scaredy cat out of her depth spy novelist roots and start doing some action, didn't really buy it. Just I don't know, the look, the vibe I was getting, maybe some haircuts change, and it doesn't quite work as well as the previous look. Somehow spends the last act plus in one gold dress.
Yes.
Which, yeah. So I think the action's really good in places. Early on, Sam Rockwell, the Henry Cavill switching out stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The hallway scene with the smoke and it is good. There are probably slightly too many twists or attempted twists in the film as well.
Yeah.
Some reveals which work really well. Others that feel like they're just trying to like just keep things spinning almost towards the end. Which feels like they've just like grabbed things from like other films. Which you've kind of seen better, maybe.
Yeah, this is the thing. So some of the reveals do seem a bit forced, and then they prove problematic going forward, which I want to discuss when we get to things like the end credit scene.
Yeah.
Which again, we're not there yet. So
do you have anything else?
Away for later.
Do you have anything else you want to say? Spoiler free. Any more vibe talk? Any more compliments? Any more criticisms? I very much enjoyed the cat.
No. I was going to say, I think Sam Rockwell plays his part very well. I do like the reference to this is how a spy looks. Like, we're not Henry Cavill. He stands out. I am an ambiguous guy on a train.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like how much it's self-aware. The part with the cat, again, some bad sort of green screening and animation when they drop him off the building and it bounces back up and it's, you know the scene.
It's in the trailer.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. It's well done, but it's just not well done.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah. I will say the cast is great. Yes. Even if you don't see some of the cast as much as you like, or would like to, if you're me, because you want all those cakes and you want to eat them all at the same time. The cast is fantastic, and probably when it gets a bit like sillier and twistier, kind of like you've got some heavy hitters in there. Sam Rockwell's a great actor. So is Bryce Dallas Howard, Bryan Cranston. They
it's heavy cast. Well done.
It's all-star cast. They can make things work. I feel like I've been a bit negative in what I've said so far, but I do want to say, in the moment, in the film, in the cinema, I was enjoying this film. I did enjoy it, and I would recommend it. So I'm going to stick with before we go into spoilers, I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
I'm up with that. Thumbs up. Happy with that.
It's definitely not a thumbs down film. I don't think really. I don't understand the perspective of people like regretting watching it and thinking it's terrible. It's not the best film in the world, but it's not trying to be the best film in the world. It's just trying to be a fun action spy adventure.
There's a whole genre of films that become fan favorites, even though they might not be technically brilliant. And fair enough, it's been a week and a half, and it's not doing outstandingly box office wise, but it's getting a lot of viewer love. And there are some genuinely terrible films that are still watched, bought, played today because they're fan favorites, even though they're trash. Plan 9 from Outer Space, for one. It's literally voted the worst film ever, and I love it.
It's probably going to make a lot less money, I imagine, than say Aquaman 2 that came out at the end of last year, and it's a better film than Aquaman 2, but it's going to make less money. So box office and things like that isn't necessarily everything. Okay, we've both given it a thumbs up. Let's talk spoilers for a couple of minutes.
So the biggest one for me, and probably the most problematic, as I said. So obviously the end trailer and end credit scene, where it's 20 years in the past, young lad at the pub, he says a code word, I think it gets a gun out of a box.
I haven't seen that. I always leave.
Oh, you!
I don't stay for end credits. I go. I know what you're going to say. It's in the Kingsman universe. I know the reveal. I just don't know how the reveal happens. The thing is, right at the end of a film, I need a wee, so I'm out of there, baby.
Oh no! What about all the people? The people put effort in, like costuming and stuff. You got to find out who they are.
Yeah, they're all great people. I'm sure I'd buy them a beer maybe if they introduced themselves. I wouldn't. I'm not made of money.
Fair.
I've barely got budget for the tea.
So, how do you feel about the joining into another franchise? Do you know how it came about?
I hate it, to be honest with you. Just have two different franchises. Just have two silly franchises. They don't need to be the same. Not everything needs to be connected. I think I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, Beardy. Not everything needs to be the MCU with their
No.
multi-universes. Just have Kingsman over here.
But this was so unplanned. So Vaughn actually owns the IP for Kingsman.
Does he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know how it came about. I haven't seen whether he bought it or was involved in the creation. I honestly don't know. But there was a point where he was interviewed and they were saying, like, well, how did you cobble this together? Who did you have to ask permission? He was like, well, I own it. So I asked myself and I said yes. It's one of my favorite lines I've ever seen.
That's a good line.
And yeah, so I don't mind it actually being involved because, again, Kingsman has that same spy nature, but a bit tongue-in-cheek. So it actually fits for me. I'm okay with that.
You are right there, in fairness.
My only complication with it is Samuel L. Jackson's in both.
Yes, but you know,
Which
can
means,
look past.
It makes
you can look
me
past
think it
those.
wasn't thought to begin with. It was like, well, this can be done. This makes sense.
This will be a fun thing to do.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I understand it doesn't have to be Samuel L. Jackson. Like, there's what, a 20-year time difference, so clearly different people. I get that, and I like Samuel L. Jackson as an actor. It's an interesting. I don't like two things melding together where people have played parts in both.
It does make things a little complicated, but I can look past it ultimately.
Yeah,
I personally,
if it's done well,
I prefer them not to link everything together. Like I said, I'd rather have separate worlds. Because I quite enjoy the Kingsman franchise.
Yeah,
I mean, Kingsman 2 is a bit disappointing. I think everyone agrees on that.
Oh, there's parts of it that are golden.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like the Circle.
Golden Circle,
Hey.
absolutely. And
I hate myself.
I kind of enjoyed The King's Man, the prequel. There are some really good things about that.
That was good. Oh, did you know that there's another thing that links them in this?
Is it Adolf Hitler coming in at the end of the end credits and be like, "I'm Adolf Hitler, baby"?
No. Oh. Surprisingly, no. Sorry. When they first turn up in London, Ellie Conway has a bourbon drink in a can, and it says Statesman on it.
Ah, little Easter eggs, little nuggets.
Yes. Things that I pay attention to because I'm weird.
I'm too busy having fun in the cinema. I don't
I'm
have time to look at stuff.
Making notes for this podcast.
I was watching
I didn't know about when we watched it,
which we're going to talk about. And I must admit, I went, mate, should I start bringing a pen and paper so I could just like scribble all my thoughts? Because I can't get my phone out. I'm not an asshole.
Get your phone out, highest brightness, tap away, volume up.
Hold it up as high as possible to definitely blind everyone behind me in the back.
Look, all you should do is sit there and record the entire thing and then make notes later.
Yeah, that is the answer.
I'm sure that'll be fine.
All right. So
Also,
the big spoiler
don't
is
do that,
the big spoiler is it's in the Kingsman universe, but film wise, I don't like the oil skating scene. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was silly, and I'll tell you why I thought it was silly. One, it just didn't look very good. It was just, I don't know. It just looked a bit nonsensical. Also, don't tell me they're not allowed to shoot any guns because of all the oil, and then have her spin around on one ice blade, whatever, that pirouetting, and just murdering them all with no consequences. Don't tell me this.
So my issue with it, firstly, the physics. Like, that's not how that works.
No.
But I did like the fact that it wasn't over the top. Like, some of it was just spinning into people, kicking them down. Like, no. Let's be honest,
the very concept is over the top. This is in the third act where there's the action scenes just go from normal, but with Henry Cavill kind of appearing, doing suave, fine stuff while she's having a mental breakdown kind of vibe, and then the rest, big reveal, I suppose, for the spoiler is she's Agent Argylle, isn't she? It's
Rachel Kyle. Kyle.
Which it's fine, but again, I didn't really buy her as a big super spy, like the world's best spy. She did the look, the attitude. It didn't work for me.
Some of the better acting for me was Bryan Cranston playing the head of the organization and her dad
and her fake dad. Yeah, fantastic. We're in spoilers, baby. We're in spoiler mode. What I will do for next podcast is I'm going to have below the Argylle picture, or which one? Obviously, it'll be Argylle every time we do. It'll be the next film.
Argylle every time.
I'm gonna put up a thing saying spoilers and non-spoilers so that people know and they can skip. I'm thinking on my feet, improving. No, Bryan Cranston's fantastic. You know, he's
fantastic in general.
Well, yeah, but he's got the dad vibe down perfectly, and then he just switches to an absolutely insane leader of a spy organization. And the action ramps up. She suddenly becomes a super spy. Other than the very silly hallway scene, which I must stress, I very much loved.
It was fantastic.
Everyone after that, and there's betrayals and like shooting through a very small point in the heart, which I'm kind of fine with. But the fact that there was like the thing I don't mind, the thing I don't like about that is I kind of felt it was an extra unnecessary twist of, oh no, I'm actually bad now, I'm going to shoot you through the heart. And then a couple of minutes later, I was like, no, I'm actually good. I shot you on purpose through the heart. It just felt like an extra one to me. You clearly disagree.
No, there's another complication there, because obviously the person who suggests the shooting through the heart, we see her in the real life story with Sam and at the end, but it's the same actress from the book world.
They mentioned that in the film, actually. It's a throwaway line of, she's not important enough to just need to change the description.
Yes. They do actually. Yes, sorry, that's my bad.
And then the final scene is them on a boat, and the mum, the fake mum, has got the ballerina, and suddenly she's like hypnotized, and she's beating up Sam Rockwell. And it just felt like there was just an extra couple of borrowings from other films to like just, I will take a bit of this and we'll take a bit of that.
The spy franchise, the spy idea has been doing that for ages. Like, some of the hate that it's been getting is the fact that it's a bit James Bond-esque.
Yeah.
But every spy film is a bit James Bond-esque because it's the quintessential spy film. Like, you can't do spy work without getting close to it.
Yeah.
I do think there is one thing that they did miss out on the opportunity of, which would have gone down well, or would at least been funny.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got the fight scenes where it keeps switching between Henry Cavill and Sam Rockwell, and then it keeps we know that John Cena's character is Bryce Dallas Howard. Yes? No.
Other way around. John Cena is Sam Rockwell,
yes.
And Cavill is Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, and throughout the whole film, there's the cut back and forth, and I would have put money on the final boat kiss scene, it cutting back and being Cena and Henry Cavill.
Listen, when they're sailing away, and as she's doing a book read at the end, of course, actual Henry Cavill turns up at the end in the book read as well. I kind of looked to Amy in the cinema and I was like, so they're lovers, right? Henry Cavill and John Cena. I was like, this is what's happened, right? This is a story I've been told. This was a gay romance spy novel the entire time, and they're kind of just doing a big reveal at the end, right? And then they're cowardly and they don't do it. Yeah, and everyone cheers, and she reads the final chapter of her book both times. She does a reading.
Yeah,
which is weird. Don't you do? Wouldn't you read the opening chapter and then people can go and take the book with them?
Well, I assume she reads the entire thing. I don't know.
They just sit there for a couple of hours.
Well, maybe she just like the first couple of lines and the final couple of lines, like figure out what happens in between by the book.
It is always fun to flip to the back of the book before you start reading it and just reading the last word and then going from the start.
End?
Yeah, last word. No,
the end.
Yeah, it might be end. It depends. Oh, dear.
Shouldn't have to explain that joke.
So, yeah, there's some spoiler-wise. I think there's too many twists. Some of them are excellent though. The parent reveal fake out thing is fantastic. Personally, it might be a different actor's problem when it revealed that Argylle is Rachel Kyle and it's Bryce Dallas Howard, and then suddenly I'm not really buying into her action scenes and things. It's kind of like for me. But again, I just want to say I feel like everything I've said has been negative, but the film was good. I did enjoy it. These are all after the film thoughts where I'm like, didn't work out quite well. Actually, it could have been better. But I think as a film, I think, watch it. Have a ganders. Thumbs up.
I highly recommend watching it. Definitely worth a watch.
Dear, oh dear. Anything else to add before we finish?
On the Argylle side of things, no, I think we've covered it quite nicely. Covered all the big plot points. Like I say, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It knows what it is. It's silly, but it's done well. It's very feel good. Like,
fantastic.
I walked away happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I walked out of the cinema going, I had fun with that. It was silly. I still do think it's two films that went mush a little bit. But yeah, okay, brilliant. Well, there, 40 minutes for what a show which we were going to aim to be 20 to 30 minutes maximum. But it's our first show. We'll be fine.
Turns out we have far too much podcast chemistry.
We just want to chat about Deadpool, apparently.
I miss you, man.
Brilliant. Right. Well, there's our very first pilot podcast complete. We'll be back soonish to talk about, well, we'll save that for then, just in case we switch up our plans ever so slightly. But I've been Bobby. That's been McBeardy.
I've been Beardy.
Is that going to be our outro? Right, I've been Bobby. Yeah. Do a point.
I've been Beardy.
He did a point as well. We'll work on that. By episode 600, we might even have, some speed.
Down. There'll be fluidity. One time there'll be an in-person live podcast.
Oh, can you imagine? Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.